Hello everybody and welcome to episode 64 of Our Story So Far TV, and today I'm rolling out something I'd like to call Mega March. Yes, that's right, for each of the next few weeks in March, I'm planning to release a video that has something to do with the vanilla Mega Man games. Today we'll be tackling Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. Come to think of it, I should have done like Mega Man 64 or something. Maybe even Super Mario 64 for the 64th episode? Oh well, it's too late for that now. Here we go. For this series of videos, I'll be using clips from the Mega Man Legacy Collection captured from the PC version of the game, and I'll leave the bordered artwork enabled so that you can easily decipher which game the clips are from. Mega Man originally released on the NES in 1987. As we all already know, it was released in Japan as Rockman, and many character names are derived from musical nomenclature, but we aren't treading any new ground there. The game wasn't expected to do well in the United States, but after a surprise showing in Japan, an American release was rushed together, including the bad box art, and the rest is obviously history. Mega Man 2 was released in 1988, and Mega Man 3 was released in 1990. Mega Man is played as a platformer that, even to this day, features fairly unique mechanics. Players can tackle levels in any order, and once a boss at the end of that level is defeated, Mega Man adds the ability of the enemy Robot Master to his arsenal. Within each game, certain Robot Masters are vulnerable to the powers that Mega Man absorbed from previous Robot Masters. The levels and bosses tend to fit a few standard themes, with some variations appearing in later games, and Mega Man has certain special abilities of his own that are unlocked via power-ups or through his robot dog companion, Rush. The graphics of the franchise improved as the games went on, though some things changed very little. For example, in the first Mega Man games, the sprite from Mega Man himself saw very few changes, and his single-frame idle pose is nearly pixel for pixel identical in Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. It seems that way to the naked eye anyway. Perhaps somebody with a more detailed sprite sheet could point out some differences, but not me. The environments themselves became more and more detailed though as games went on, and the look and feel of Mega Man was refined as the franchise grew. In the first game, there was a bit of momentum slippage as Mega Man stopped running. His movements became much more precise by the time Mega Man 3 came around. Mega Man 3 also introduced the slide maneuver, which is one of my all-time favorite additions to any Mega Man game. While the boss designs are widely varied, there is something iconic about Mega Man's sprite design that is wholly unique to the franchise, and even the bosses stand out as some of the best-looking sprites on the console. Best on the console, that's a phrase you're going to have to get used to. Mega Man 1's music was composed by Manami Matsume, and while it is not quite as iconic as the music Takashi Tateishi would bring to Mega Man 2, it certainly set the tone. The Mega Man franchise has a very distinctive musical font to it. It's instantly recognizable as Mega Man music, and is undoubtedly some of the best music the NES hardware is capable of producing. This holds true for Mega Man 3 as well, having been composed by Harumi Fujita originally before she left to give birth to her child, and having the rest of the game's music finished by Yasuaki Fujita. Though the sounds may have been reformed, from the very first game, iconic sounds that remained fairly consistent throughout the entire franchise were birthed, such as the Mega Buster and the disappearing blocks. Though the first game in the series didn't sell extraordinarily well, it did well enough to be granted a sequel, and when Mega Man 2 was being released, it was turning more heads and making waves. It is considered by many to be the best installment in the entire franchise. Personally, I think that may be because it's also one of the easiest in the franchise. Yeah, that's right, I went there. Let it be known here and now that I am and forever will be a Mega Man 3 fan. It usually comes down to 2 or 3 in most people's minds, and 2 seems to win out most of the time. But I found 2 to be easier than 3. Although they both take me around the same length of time to beat, I was able to run through the game with relative ease, because I found health drops to be readily available in Mega Man 2, in a way that they definitely weren't in either the first or third installments in the series. I was constantly getting my health refilled, usually when I needed it the most. It was almost as if the game wanted to build suspense, but almost in the same sort of way that a summer action film builds suspense. You know the good guy's gonna be okay in the end, so is it really that suspenseful? That being said, I will admit the actual truth. I'm just a huge fan of Mega Man 3 because I was late to the Nintendo Entertainment System. I grew up on the Commodore 64 as my first computer, and it was how I played games at my home. My neighbors had a Nintendo, and I thought it was cool, but it wasn't until one day when my dad suddenly came home from a few yard sales and asked me to come out to the car to look at something. He popped the trunk of our Ford Tempo, and there it was, something that I will never forget. A Nintendo Entertainment System in a beat-up box that he picked up at a yard sale for just $35. This was just before the Super Nintendo released, but I was thrilled nonetheless. I also remember the day when my mom asked me if it was okay if she threw out the box the NES came in. And as a kid of only about 12 or 13, I told her it was fine because I never saw myself putting the Nintendo back in the box anyway. And while I wasn't wrong about that, I've grown up to have many regrets about choices I made regarding my console games in my youth. But I digress. I haven't gotten to the point of why I'm a Mega Man 3 fan, and that's because it was the first NES game I owned that wasn't Super Mario or Duck Hunt. I still have the same used copy I picked up in a pawn shop many years ago, and I will cherish it forever. And it's the best Mega Man game, and Rush has the coolest abilities in this one, and the slide move is awesome, and you will never change my mind! Whew, anyway, that was a tangent, but it helps explain why I love this franchise so much. And even though I started with the third game in the series, I was quickly able to tell that I was joining a story already in progress. So let's tackle some story next. To do that, let's take the easy route and show what's in the manuals. While I do have some of the NES manuals for the games I want to cover this month, for the sake of keeping things simple, I'm going to be reading out of the Mega Man Anniversary Collection package for the GameCube. Yeah, Legacy Collection on PC, Anniversary Collection on the GameCube. Can you tell I'm a fan? From what I can tell, the stories are word for word the same when I compare the manuals to what I have, other than renaming Dr. Wright to Dr. Light as he would be known for the rest of the franchise, and inventing a story for Mega Man 2 that isn't really in the manual, but we'll come back to some of that. It's Mega Man versus the powerful leaders and fighting forces of Monsteropolis, that strange, multifaceted land of robot-like humanoids. Brilliant scientist Dr. Light conceived the construction of fully operational human-like experimental robots to perform specific everyday duties. Dr. Light and his assistant Dr. Wily, encouraged by their very first near-human robot, Mega Man, proceeded to develop 6 additional humanoids, all programmed to perform prescribed rituals. But with the exception of Mega Man, all of Dr. Light's near-human robot experimentation went awry. Assistant Dr. Wily turned disloyal, reprogramming Dr. Light's humanoids, now bent on destroying opposition so Dr. Wily can control the world and its resources. Resisting reprogramming, Mega Man is chosen as the defender of the universe and its inhabitants. Mega Man dares to single-handedly penetrate 7 separate empires of Monsteropolis, eliminating the leaders and followers of these sovereignties. Get ready for some very exciting challenges. Mega Man 2: The Return of Wily. In the year 2000X, a super robot named Mega Man was created by Dr. Light to stop the evil desires of Dr. Wily. However, after his defeat, Dr. Wily created 8 of his own robots to counter Mega Man. Mega Man 3: Metal Attack. Calling Mega Man, come in please. Mega Man, we need you. We're down to the wire on our peacekeeping project. We've got to get those last energy crystals, or we can't finish it. Dr. Wily's here now, too. Yes, he's finally found his sanity. He knows where the crystals are. They're in the mining worlds, but we can't get to them. The robots are running amok, and they're destroying everything. You've got to get there, Mega Man, and get those crystals. You'll have to face some pretty mean metal. Expect the worst. Is Rush there with you? Give him a bowl to chew on, and tell him it's from us. What's that? We must be getting static. It sounds like you said woof? Mega Man, get to those mining worlds, pronto. Grab the crystals and stop whoever's in charge. He's one lunatic guy. This is Dr. Light. Over and out. So in the first 3 games, Dr. Wily has betrayed Dr. Light multiple times, but you keep going back and trusting him. Still, I found it very interesting that Mega Man 3 finally seems to indicate that the robot masters you do battle with are either guarding or, more likely, are powered by certain energy crystals. It's the crystals that are left when you defeat a boss, and the reason Mega Man is able to absorb the powers of the robots. That's very interesting. But there's one character you do battle with in Mega Man 3 that you can never kill. Proto Man. As I said, it was obvious to me even as a kid that I had come into the middle of a story, but I didn't realize that this was just the beginning of the Proto Man story. Proto Man appeared in Mega Man 3 and battled Mega Man multiple times, only to help him out at the end of the game. Then to find out he was Dr. Light's very first creation? What? A video game ended on a cliffhanger? I need to know more. But as I got older and life caught up with me and new generations of consoles were released, I got away from the Mega Man franchise. I never experienced the remainder of the games on the console. I might have rented or borrowed one here or there, but I never sat down and played through them. Well, that's exactly what I intend to do next time, because I'm so engrossed in the story of my favorite Blue Bomber that I can't give up now. I've just begun to scratch the mega deep surface, and man, I can't wait to learn more of our story so far. Hey everybody, thanks for watching episode number 64 of Our Story So Far TV. Are you guys as pumped as I am for Mega March? Come back next week, yes, 7 days from now, to learn more about Mega Man 4, 5, and 6. In the meantime, there's still 63 other episodes you can check out on this channel, and I would really appreciate it if you did. Give this video a like, leave a comment, or if you really enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot, lets me know you're paying attention. If for some reason you're having a hard time finding these videos on YouTube, just remember ourstorysofar.tv has every episode archived in 1080p. Until next time, take care of yourself.